This is Great Britain. It was once one of the most powerful empires in history, and it was said that the sun never set on the British Empire. But now, it's in a state of decline. In the last quarter of 2023, Britain's economy fell into a technical recession. Its GDP shrank by 0.3% in the last 3 months of 2023, after contracting 0.1% in the third quarter. On top of that, the average worker has lost $10,700 per year. And it's unlikely to get better, because British families were already struggling with money when the pandemic hit. Now, they're facing a long time trying to get back to their previous living standards. Experts think it might not be until 2027 before household incomes are back to where they were before the pandemic. And with so much political instability and misgovernance, the future looks bleak. So a couple of quick questions. What exactly happened to the UK, and will it be able to recover from this economic crunch? We'll explore this in today's video. Britain's economic story is a fascinating one. The Industrial Revolution ignited a firestorm of progress, with inventions like the steam engine and vast railway networks propelling Britain to the forefront. This era, coupled with the expansion of its vast empire, laid the foundation for economic might. Britain controlled international trade routes and enjoyed access to a wealth of global resources. 2 world wars forced a shift in focus towards wartime production, leaving a legacy of substantial national debt. The post-war period witnessed a significant restructuring. The rise of the welfare state led to the creation of the National Health Service and the nationalization of key industries. The move away from a heavily industrial economy in the 1970s brought about industrial decline, labor unrest, and a pivot towards a service-oriented system. Policies like deregulation and privatization under Margaret Thatcher further impacted the landscape. Traditional industries declined, and regional disparities widened. By the late 20th century, the UK had fully embraced a globalized service-based economy, focusing on finance, business services, and creative industries. This shift initially brought prosperity and a narrowing gap with more productive economies like France, Germany, and the US. While the service sector boomed, it couldn't replicate the broad-based employment opportunities offered by the industry. This transition resulted in widespread job losses in sectors like heavy manufacturing and mining, leading to rising income inequality. And this trend also continued in the post-2008 era. The 2008 financial crisis served as a harsh spotlight, exposing these weaknesses. The over-reliance on a single sector became evident, alongside a lack of investment in vital areas like education, regional infrastructure, and healthcare. Even the National Health Service, a cornerstone of British society, began to struggle under the weight of an aging population and underfunding. Waiting times doubled since 2014, a stark reminder of the challenges. Entering the 2020s, Britain grapples with the legacy of its economic shift. A key concern is the significant slowdown in productivity growth. Productivity, the efficiency with which goods and services are produced, is crucial for economic well-being. It drives higher living standards, supports wages, and underpins a competitive economy. Measured as output per unit of input, labor or capital, high productivity translates to more being produced with the same resources, vital for economic growth. Since 2008, the UK has witnessed stagnation in productivity growth. Previously, it grew by around 2% annually. However, post-crisis, this growth has stalled. Notably, a significant decrease in investment since 2005 has hampered progress. Compared to the US, France, and Germany, UK companies invest 20% less, placing them in the bottom 10% of OECD countries. This underinvestment translates to outdated technology, reduced innovation, and a lack of skilled workers across sectors. Consequently, the overall efficiency and innovative potential of the British economy have suffered, contributing to sluggish productivity growth. Adding to this challenge is a mismatch between workforce skills and job demands. A considerable portion of young people in the UK, nearly a third, are not engaged in education by 18, exceeding rates in comparable nations. This gap results in a workforce often unprepared for the high-skilled jobs critical in a modern, knowledge-based economy. Further hindering productivity, the post-crisis economic landscape saw an increase in low-skilled part-time jobs. These roles offered limited opportunities for skill development and career advancement, further detracting from overall efficiency. Austerity measures and public spending cuts have also restricted government investment in crucial areas like infrastructure and technology, further hindering productivity improvements. And in the post-pandemic era, these problems have compounded for Britain. Many wonder who's responsible for this. Now, if you like what you see, subscribe to our channel and like the video. You see, declining productivity isn't just an economic issue. It fuels inequality. The gap between rich and poor in the UK is the widest among large European economies, and it's been widening since the 1980s. This widening gap acts as a brake on overall growth. When the gap widens, people with lower incomes spend less. They simply don't have the extra money to contribute to overall economic demand. The wealthy, on the other hand, tend to invest their surplus, which can be good, but it doesn't necessarily translate to job creation or new businesses. Lower-income earners often lack the resources to invest in things like a good education, limiting their ability to climb the economic ladder. This creates low social mobility, where background heavily influences your future. The UK's high intergenerational income elasticity means income tends to stay within families, reinforcing this cycle. The UK's tax burden is near a 60-year high. While taxes fund public services, current spending hasn't addressed issues like underinvestment in education, which is crucial for social mobility. Additionally, high student loan debt acts as a de facto tax on recent graduates, further hindering their ability to accumulate wealth. This creates a situation where a large portion of the population can't reach their full potential. This lack of skilled workers and innovative ideas ultimately slows down the entire economy's growth. Even measures like the national minimum wage haven't been enough to fully address the problem. Cuts in benefits, reduced work hours for low-income earners, and rising living costs, especially in housing, further squeeze household budgets. The problem is also regional. While southern England saw income growth between 2004 and 2019, many other regions experienced a decline. To address this, further investment is needed in cities like Manchester and Birmingham. These cities have a combined population of around 4 million, but underperform in productivity compared to London, pulling down the national average. To make matters worse, Brexit and the pandemic have undeniably further exacerbated the UK's existing economic weaknesses. The 2016 Brexit vote, fueled by a desire to control immigration and revitalize the economy, has had some significant consequences. Trade openness, a key economic indicator, has declined substantially since the UK left the European Union. While the pandemic initially obscured this impact, the UK is the only major European economy still experiencing a trade decline despite global trade recovery. Deals with non-EU nations like Australia, touted as major successes, have minimal impact, projected to increase GDP by a meager 0.85% annually by 2035. Brexit has also significantly impacted manufacturing and productivity. Goods trade has fallen by over 10% compared to pre-Brexit levels, causing restructuring within the sector. High productivity sectors like chemicals and transport manufacturing, reliant on integrated European supply chains, have declined. This, in turn, has increased dependence on lower productivity areas like domestic food production, mirroring the sluggish post-World War II era. Dependence on less competitive sectors hinders growth, innovation, and global market positioning. Critics argue that Brexit has made the UK more inward-looking. Despite this inward focus, the UK faces a complex yet potentially positive challenge: reducing carbon emissions and achieving net zero by 2050. This transition can create significant economic growth and job opportunities, but the government's commitment to net zero seems questionable. Recent decisions, like opening new North Sea oil fields, prioritize short-term gain over long-term environmental and economic goals. These short-sighted policies, mirroring a concerning trend in British politics, burden future generations. Proponents of these decisions argue they maintain competitiveness with countries like China and India. However, they fail to recognize the potential for the UK to become a global leader in clean energy, a path with immense potential to boost productivity and growth. Share your thoughts in the comment section below. Let's explore how Britain can navigate the economic landscape and unlock its full potential. Like and subscribe to the channel. To learn more about the specific impact of Brexit, check out our previous video on how Brexit impacts the UK's economic future.